It's the dictionary. 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 It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Welcome to a very sleepy episode of the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is episode G41. Oh, I have to adjust this because these glasses have such a big old reflection. There we go. That looks much sillier. I am so tired. My cat Audrey was running around after I went to bed a couple hours after I started sleeping, and then I had a very, very hard time going back to sleep, and who knows why. It was very warm. It needs to be a little bit colder, I think, when you're trying to sleep. Okay, let's talk about the words. The first word is two words. It's gene conversion. Noun from 1955. This is a genetic process that involves non-reciprocal meiotic recombination in heterozygotes in which a mismatched DNA sequence from one heteroduplex DNA strand is replaced with a sequence complementary to the other strand, resulting in aberrant gametic ratios as 3-1, and that is observed especially in Ascomycetes fungi. Man, I don't know what I just read. Gene conversion. Is this a natural thing that happens? Let me sort of scan this again. Just read it out loud. Genetic process that involves non-reciprocal meiotic recombination in heterozygotes in which a mismatched DNA sequence from one heteroduplex DNA strand is replaced with a sequence complementary to the other strand, resulting in aberrant gametic ratios. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. I kind of feel like maybe I need to put a link in the show notes for gene conversion. It seems like it's a natural thing that's happening. It mentions fungi. So is this only happening there? Other things? DNA sections are switching? Maybe the Google will break it down a little bit for me. Genetic process where a DNA sequence is replaced by a similar sequence, from a donor, often during DNA repair in homologous recombination, making the two sequences identical. It's a non-reciprocal copy and paste event that can occur between alleles or similar genes and plays roles in genome evolution and disease by creating genetic variation or altering gene function. So the donor, do they even know that they're donating this? This is a very complicated thing. Gene conversion. Well, yeah, go to the show notes if you want to learn more about that, and then probably go to school also. Okay, let's make a sound. It's going to be... Now we have gene flow, noun from 1947. It is the passage and establishment of genes typical of one breeding population into the gene pool of another. Flowing the genes from one group into another by mating, probably. Passage and establishment of genes typical of one breeding population into the gene pool of another. So yeah, you got a group of people over here, and then somehow they mix somehow with another one. And they're flowing their genes over there because if you are mating too much with the same group of people, or not, I don't mean people, I mean organisms, then you risk inbreeding and all the sorts of problems that come with that. And so you gotta mix it up. You gotta flow your genes. Here, let me flow my genes over there and flow my genes over there. And you got blue genes and you got red genes and genes. Now we have gene frequency. A noun from 1930. This is the ratio of the number of a specified allele in a population to the total of all alleles in its genetic locus. And I need to look up allele again because I have heard of this word, but I don't remember what it is. One of two or more alternative forms of a gene that arise by mutation and are found at the same place on a chromosome. Um, allele. Okay, so what is this showing me? That's little a, big A, little bit, that's a ba. Which, a variant of the sequence of nucleotides. It's about mutated genes, I guess. There was something, what did it say? Allele versus gene. A gene is a segment of DNA that codes for a specific trait, like eye color, while an allele is a specific variant form of that gene, like blue, brown, or green for eye color. Think of the gene as the instruction for hair color and alleles as the different options for that instruction. Okay, that makes sense. So what was this again? Gene frequency is the ratio of the number of a specified allele in a population to the total of all alleles in its genetic locus. So, okay, if I understand correctly, you've got a population, and let's say if we're talking about eye color, there's everybody has an allele for eye color: blue, green, purple, brown, black, red. And so what's the gene frequency of red eyes? Well, it's the ratio of that, how many times that has shown up. Let's say if it's a population of 100 and you got one organism with red eyes, then it would be 1 out of 100, I guess, because it's the total possibilities of all of that, that gene for eye color. Is that right? Of all the possible alleles for that gene. Sure. Okay, fine. What's the frequency that this gene is popping up? Or this allele? Is it the gene frequency or the allele? Now we have gene mutation, noun from 1925. It is mutation due to fundamental intramolecular reorganization of a gene, and compared to point mutation. I feel like there should be more links in the show notes for gene stuff, because clearly, we would have had in the previous episode. Yep, we had gene. But here we're getting into the specifics of what's going on with the genes and what are they doing and how are they flowing and how are they being converted, and how many are there and they're mutating. Mutation due to fundamental. So they mutate all the time, and that's when you get some funky things happening in organisms, like, I guess, different types of eye color that probably happened because of some mutation. Maybe all those years ago, this population all had the same eye color, and then there was a gene that mutated for whatever reason. Now we got this eye color, hair color, skin color to an extent, diseases of different kinds, albinism, something that's an albino, that's a genetic mutation. So yeah, link in the show notes for gene mutation. And then when the gene mutates, it goes. That's the sound that it makes. We haven't quite gotten to the stage of genes mutating where we have superpowers. Not exactly. Not like we see in the comic books and the movies and the TV shows and stuff like that. It'd be cool. Maybe I can work on every day, do a little practice where I go, ooh, and I try to mutate my genes, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're invisible. Someday, probably not. Now we have gene pool. Noun from 1946. I feel like Eugene Merman from Bob's Burgers, who plays the character Gene on Bob's Burgers, I feel like he should be in this section talking about all these gene words. But he's a busy man. Okay, so gene pool is the collection of genes in an interbreeding population that includes each gene at a certain frequency in relation to its alleles. That's the frequency thing coming up again. How many are there? How many possibilities of the total population? But also the genetic information of a population of interbreeding organisms, as in the example, the human gene pool. It's just basically what are all the different genes and possibilities of genes and their alleles in one certain population. The human gene pool is large. There's over 8 billion of us humans. And that's a lot. And, I don't think we're ever going to be doing so much interbreeding. But then if you break it down into smaller groups, then you have a different sort of gene pool. One that might be a little bit more or a lot more similar. If you look at like one town, one whatever, what's the gene pool there? It's going to depend on the town. In a diverse town, you're going to have a big gene pool because you got a lot of different options. But in certain towns, maybe everybody's a lot more similar. So it's a much smaller gene pool. And you're like, I don't want to go into that pool. That pool is too similar to me. I'm going to go into a different gene pool because I want things different and I don't want my babies to be interbred. Okay, now we have genera. It is the plural of genus, which it's going to be a little while from now. Genus. Next is generable. Generable or generable. I guess that's 3 or 4 syllables. It is an adjective from the 15th century. It is capable of being generated. Can it be generated? Then it's generable. I've never used this word. Now we have the word general, and there are a number of definitions because this word general it's kind of general. It's kind of generic. This is the first form. It is an adjective from the 14th century. I guess some people do 2 or 3 syllables, general or general. Number 1, involving applicable to or affecting the whole. Is it talking about the whole, involved with the whole? Then it's general. I'm going to be very general here with my discussion about dogs. Just dogs are great. That's very general. But of course, then if you look at maybe certain dogs, certain species, blah, 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 then maybe when you get a little bit more specific, then your general statement kind of breaks down. Just being very general. Number 2, involving, relating to, or applicable to every member of a class, kind, or group, as in the general equation of a straight line. The general equation of a straight line, I guess on a chart, an X and Y chart, there's an equation to make a straight line, and it's general? I don't know. That seems like an odd example to this definition. Applicable to every member of a class, kind, or group. Yep. Number 3, not confined by specialization or careful limitation. Not confined by specialization. We're not going to specialize. We're going to be very general. I don't know of another way to say that, so we're just going to move on to number 4. Belonging to the common nature of a group of like individuals. The synonym is generic. And I don't think it's a coincidence that general and generic have the same first 5 letters. Yeah, there's a reason for that, I'm sure. Belonging to the common nature of a group of like individuals. We're all individuals. 5A, applicable to or characteristic of the majority of individuals involved. The synonym is prevalent. You can see a pattern. I mean, these definitions, I feel like, are very similar in that it's pertaining to a lot of things, something that pertains to a bunch of stuff. 5B, concerned or dealing with universal rather than particular aspects. And, we don't have example sentences for a lot of these. There's not a lot more specifics. The definitions are quite general for the word general. Number 6, relating to, determined by, or concerned with main elements rather than limited details, as in bearing a general resemblance to the original. It's like it's generally similar. When I copied that thing on the Xerox machine 10 times, the 10th copy was generally like the first one. You can see they look very similar, but maybe when you look at some of the details, you're like, it's not perfect. Number 7, holding superior rank or taking precedence over others similarly titled, as in the general manager. Who's the general manager? I want to talk to the general manager. I want to talk to them about how they have superior rank and they are taking precedence over others who are also called managers. They oversee all the managers. Because they're general and maybe generic and maybe named Jenny. Okay, let's look at the etymology. This is from Latin generalis, which is from, the word genus, which is how we now say genus, which means kind or class. And there's more at the word kin. So I guess it's kind or class. It's talking about a group of things. And so that's why it's just general, talking about, we're talking about those group of things in a general way. Now we have the second form of general, which is a noun from the 14th century. So the last one was the adjective. You're describing something as general, like the manager who is general. But here we have the noun. Number 1, something as a concept, principle, or statement that involves or is applicable to the whole, to all of the stuff. It's a general thing. It's not an adjective. It doesn't have an example. It's a general. Number 2, the synonym is superior general. Is that a type of military rank, superior general? I feel like maybe I've heard of that in some context out there in the world. Number 3, this is archaic. The general the general public, and the synonym is people. So I guess back in the day, they were like, oh, look at all those generals, because we're talking about all of them together. They're the generals. Would it have been? Would the plural have been general or generals in that context? The general public. You're talking about them as a one big group. Look at that. That's the general. It feels weird. It seems like it should be generals. Number 4A, the synonym is general officer. 4B, a commissioned officer in the Army, Air Force, or Marine Corps who ranks above a lieutenant general and whose insignia is 4 stars. Look at me, I got 4 stars on my shoulder or my lapel or my forehead. I don't know where the stars go, but I got 4 of them because I'm a general. Woo, sparkly stars. Okay, next. Compared to admiral. I believe admiral would be the next step up above a general. It didn't say the Navy. Is there no general in a Navy? It said Army, Air Force, or Marines. Gotta look it up. We gotta look it up. Does the Navy have a general? I feel like they must. No, the Navy does not have generals. They have equivalent high-ranking officers called admirals, as general is a term for Army, Marine Corps, and Air Force leaders, while flag officer is the Navy Coast Guard term for these senior ranks, with ranks like admiral, vice admiral, and rear admiral, period. So the admiral, that's why it says compared to admiral, because that is 4 stars. 4 stars for you, admiral. I guess that's the equivalent in the Navy. Why does the Navy not have generals? Seems weird. Okay, now we have one phrase in general, which means for the most part. The synonym there is generally. Generally, for the most part, in general, dogs are great. All right, moving on to general admission. Noun from circa 1949. It is a fee paid for admission to a usually unreserved seating area, and an example of where this is happening is in an auditorium or a stadium. Do you have seats? Do you have save seats, or do you just have general admission? Do you have there's a place that I go to sometimes, not very often, in Chicago called the Vic, and I believe that they are just general admission. Everybody gets in the same. There's no seats usually, and you just mingle with all the people, and you just go where you want to go. And if you want to get in the front, you got to get there early, or you got to worm your way up to the front. And it's just general admission is general. That's kind of your standard ticket. Blah, blah, blah. Now we have general agent. Noun from 1812. Number 1, one employed to transact generally all legal business entrusted by a principal. You're just taking care of all the stuff, I guess. Number 2, an insurance company agent working within a specified area. Now that is odd to me. I'm going to read the first one again. One employed to transact generally all legal business entrusted by a principal. Okay, well, that makes sense. But now number 2. You are this agent, but you're working in a specified area. And that seems like the exact opposite of a general agent. You would think a general agent would not be working in a specified area, that they're working in a number of areas, just generally maybe all of the areas. So maybe they should be called a specific agent, a specified agent. Just a thought. Can I change your whole system? You're welcome. Next is general anesthesia. Noun from 1881. Anesthesia affecting the entire body and accompanied by loss of consciousness. General anesthetic is a noun. Let's see, what's the other term? I'm going to look up opposite to general anesthesia or anesthetic. The opposite of general anesthesia, local, yeah. So local anesthesia, that numbs a small area while you remain awake. Or there's also regional anesthesia, which numbs a larger area like an arm or lower body while you stay alert or lightly sedated. And general anesthesia is when you are just out. You are completely in sleepy time. And I have had this at least a few times. I've had a couple of surgeries, and I had that endoscope where they put the scope down my throat. And so I was totally out for that. I'm trying to think if I have ever been completely under other than that. But, there's other procedures where you're like, nah, we just, like for getting your wisdom teeth taken out, you're probably just getting a local anesthetic just to numb the mouth, jaw, cheek area right all up in here. And hopefully it works. Didn't work great for me. But yeah, so general anesthesia, I want to be out. I want to not have any memory of this procedure whatsoever. Please and thank you. Blah, blah, blah. General Assembly, noun from circa 1572. Number 1, the highest governing body in a religious denomination. And an example of that denomination would be the United Presbyterian Church. The highest governing body in that religion is the General Assembly. Number 2, a legislative assembly, especially a U.S. state legislature. Number 3, the G and the A would be capitalized here. It is the supreme deliberative body of the United Nations. So basically, what I'm getting from General Assembly is that it's a group of people who are kind of running the show, making decisions from up on high, up in their thrones. Now we have General Aviation, noun from 1966. It is the operation of civilian aircraft not under the control of a common carrier. Also, such aircraft collectively. All of those aircraft, they are the general aviation. So would these be, well, it says civilian aircraft. So if you own a plane and you're flying your own plane, I guess you'd be considered part of the general aviation. Not under the control of a common carrier. So would a common carrier be one of those big airlines like United, American, Delta, Spirit, Southwest, Air New Zealand, Air Ireland, Aer Lingus? Is that what it is? Or am I thinking of something else? So many of those common carriers. I guess they are not part of the general aviation, but I would think that they are, but I guess they're private companies, and so it's different. Wow, that gene mutated hard. Now we have General Court. The first letters are capitalized. It is a noun from 1628. It is a legislative assembly, specifically the state legislature in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So, we had General Assembly, which was also a state legislature, but in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, they said that we would rather call those people the General Court for some reason. Let's do one more for this episode. It's General Delivery, noun from 1846. It is a department of a post office that handles the delivery of mail at a post office window to persons who call for it. So a department at a post office that handles the delivery of mail at a post office window to persons who call for it. So does that mean that you have to call ahead of time and say, "Hey, I want to pick up my mail at the post office, but please give me your general delivery person," or when you are there, do you have to call out, "Hey, general delivery person, I need to pick up my stuff right now, thank you"? I went to the post office recently to pick up something because it required a signature and nobody was here to sign for it, so I had to pick it up. And boy, the post office situation has changed. I think because of all of these private shipping companies and stuff that they're not getting a lot of business, and they're struggling financially. And so when you go to our the headquarters in our town, it's a big building, and you got a long line of people, but they can't afford to have a lot of people working. And so you're just sitting there waiting. Back in the day, they have all these windows. We have a very old building. I don't know when it was built, probably 100 years ago. There's all these windows, but maybe there's 2 open at once if you're lucky. So yeah, general delivery, but you're not delivering it. That's the thing. You're picking it up. Handles but it says to handle the delivery of a mail, but it's at a post office window. So do you have to call ahead of time? And then they deliver it to you, but they're not real. I mean, it's whatever. Okay, I'm not going to get hung up on that. Now, let's pick a word of the episode. We had gene conversion, gene flow, gene frequency, gene mutation, gene pool, genera, generable, general admission, general agent, general anesthesia, general assembly, general aviation, general court, and general delivery. Oh, that was a bunch. Well, I'm thinking about either general anesthesia, but I think the problem with that is that you don't ever have dreams. I don't think people usually have dreams when they're in general anesthesia. But also gene mutation. Gene mutation is what happens when genes mutate. There's really crazy things that can happen with gene mutation. Gene mutation, gene mutation. What's gonna happen with my genes when they mutate? Oh my god, the best songs ever. Gene mutation is the word of the episode, and now I'm telling you about another movie. This next one that I saw was Caught Stealing. That's what it's called. I was not caught stealing. This is the one that takes place in the 90s in New York, by the guy who did Pie. And it's like a lot of people of different groups intermixed in a situation, and the guy is caught in the middle of it, and they're all kind of I don't want to say sleazy, but they're all doing things that are illegal pretty much. And yeah, lot of generalizations, stereotypes, which especially at the time, I'm sure there was a lot of truth to that. But yeah, so there were some stereotypes. Well, that's it. It was a fun movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. You should watch it. And of course, and it's fun to see the New York in the 90s, I guess, which is very nostalgic for some people. Not for me. I wasn't there. I got no connection to that. All right, this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.